everyone, Kristina Werner here. Today I'm going to be sharing a card with you that has repeat stamping of smaller stamps. This is a great way to get awesome impact on your cards without needing a really large image. I'm using the Best Hug stamp set from Simon, and because this is going to be a one-layer card, I'm first going to prep my card base. I'm scoring some Nina Solar White cardstock at 5.5 to create a top folding card. Now, because I'm going to be doing lots and lots of stamping on this card, I want to protect the back panel from any of that ink and stamps. So I'm going to put a little bit of masking tape right above the fold on my cardstock. I took the blue masking tape and put it on the back of my hand and then peeled it off to remove some of that stickiness. I didn't want there to be any chance that when I peel this up later that it would tear the paper. So I'm going to be doing rows of stamping across this card front, and the very first stamp I'm going to use, I want to make sure that it's perfectly aligned on the card. So I'm using my T-square ruler and a pencil, and I'm going to draw in a very faint line. This is going to give me a little bit more of a guide while I do my stamping. I've mounted a stamp onto my stamp press. I'm using the Fiskars Compact Stamp Press. This is a little ribbon shape, and I'm stamping it in Simon Says Stamp Fossil ink. The first time I stamped this, I didn't get a very good impression, so I'm going to ink up that stamp once again and stamp over that initial stamping, and it's going to just even out that area and give me a nice clean ribbon shape. I also stamped this 2 more times, once on either side, creating that horizontal line of stamped images. I'm now going to stamp the Hugs greeting from the stamp set. This is in Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink, and I'm going to repeat stamp this all the way across as well, with a slight gap in between each word. I'm going to do some stamping in between the words later, but for now I just wanted to get the words stamped. So now I'm going to move on and do a bunch of colored stamping. The first color I'm using is Scuba from Simon, and I'm going to be stamping this heart and a circle image going horizontally all the way across. I'm going to repeat this image going across with a slight gap in between each image. I'll then go ahead and switch to a different color. I wanted to show you my process when I'm using the same stamp with multiple colors. I like to first clean off the stamp with a baby wipe or a stamp cleaning cloth, and then I sort of use it on some scratch paper and stamp it a few times to make sure I got rid of the color. And also after I switch to a new color, in this case Hot Mama, I also stamp it on that scratch paper because sometimes, because these stamps are high quality photopolymer, a high quality acrylic, they really absorb the ink, which is what you want because you want to get a nice even impression when you stamp your image. But because of that, sometimes some of the ink can remain after you've visibly cleaned the stamp. So it's always a good idea to kind of stamp off onto some scratch paper or something like that so you get a nice clean color. The green color I used is called Willow. It's also from Simon Says Stamp. And now I'm using the color Teeny Bikini. It's a nice pinky coral color. I also used more of that Willow on the bottom and then finished off with Hot Mama. And I brought over that piece of scratch paper to go underneath the bottom edge of my card. So as I stamped off the edge, it would keep my mat underneath clean. I took one of the really small heart stamps from the stamp set and used the Hot Mama ink to fill in that area in between the words, and that just gives that a nice continuous line. The last bit of stamping I'm going to do are some words in that fossil colored ribbon banner that I stamped earlier. Because these stamps are formulated to soak into the paper and even out over time, I wanted to give it as much time as possible to even out before I stamped this black ink on top. Otherwise, I've discovered in the past that if you stamp the black ink right on it immediately, then as it dries back, it sort of blurs the words because that ink wasn't dry to begin with. So just by letting it dry a little bit before adding the black words on top, it helps prevent any of that blurriness. So I removed my blue tape and then used my bone folder to crease the fold on the card. And I also erased that pencil line that I drew on there at the very beginning. That's my card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is a really fun way to use smaller images on your cards. You can just repeat stamp them across your card front and it has great impact. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you next time.